All right. Thanks to everyone who's able to join today. Christian's out, and Jeremy might be able to come later. We'll see. But have a pretty light agenda today, and we'll get through it. But before we start, is there anything that anyone would like to add to our discussion for today that isn't currently on the agenda?
I know we have UI things to do. I'm going to be out. It was a last minute vacation kind of deal. Um, and yeah, so late June, I'm going to be out, but I'm going to find a way to work on the UI.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we'll just proceed with this. At the top with our action items, the first two here are website update stuff. Rose has put a pull request in. I'm going to combine these two. But Rose has put a pull request in, and I have not reviewed it or merged it, and that's entirely on me. Thank you for putting that in. I expect it's fine and just needs to be done. But anything more that you need there on from other than just a review and a merge, Rose?
Yeah, no, I think it's okay. I did have somebody else look over it too,
Okay, great.
because I haven't ever done anything like that. But yeah, so we looked at like the local host and it
Hmm.
looked fine. It was an about page and had all the stuff that we wanted, but nobody made any comments on the sheet that we shared several weeks ago. So I kind of assume that was, what was on that page is what
Yep.
is good. But of course we could make any edits. So of course, you guys look at the werewolf .org website, you're like, this is a no, just let us know.
So it sounds like you were able to actually get it to run locally and see it all render and everything. So
Mhm.
if that's the case, then I expect it's going to take me all of 5 minutes once I actually find attention to go do it. So thank you so much for doing that.
Of course.
Awesome. So the next thing then, I mean, these are all with you, Rose, but where are we with planning for the Perk 25 BOF?
Ooh, yes, very exciting. I was actually just reviewing some emails that they sent over on like, where things are. So in my mind, I still need to figure it all out. So thank you for that reminder of getting really clear because it is coming up. We are 8 weeks out. But we also CIQ also has a booth, and then Werewolf is having the BOF. So I'm gonna need to get clear on the details of both, but I'll keep you guys posted too. Do you like to be kind of updated in the Werewolf Slack channel, or is this meeting where you like that
It,
information?
if there are updates in between, especially if you need something in between meetings, by all means mention them. Probably in TSC, unless you're like look for the parts where you're soliciting community involvement or talking it up, and that could go into general for sure. But at least we'll keep prompting for updates in here until the event.
Okay, perfect. Yes, thank you. I'll remember to do that. And then the next one here is me too.
Yes.
Yeah, so for SC, we have spoken to the Open HPC group and they are open to that's funny. To kind of combining forces at SC and really having like one place where we're really talking about HPC and werewolf specifically because they do use Werewolf, but it's not the only provisioner that is part of Open HPC. So they really wanted to bring those ideas back to the group. So they have said that next Friday is a good time to reach back out and say, hey, have we had the discussion? And what was decided? So if we can kind of get in on their coattails and have a combined meeting with Werewolf. I think we all agreed last time that would be a great idea. And if not, that's okay. We'll submit our own.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds great. And we'll look forward to hearing how that conversation goes. I can see both sides of it. I think there's a value. It would be cool if we could get everyone that has a provision or presence within OpenHPC as part of that. And it's not that we wouldn't participate anyway. It's just about whether, to what degree and whether we should be doing something else. So yeah, thanks for pursuing that. Great.
Yeah.
And reach out if you need anything on it. So our primary discussion topics for today, one is we've lost a TSC member, or we effectively have. So with John Hanks changing from Chan Zuckerberg's BioHub to jump trading. He isn't using Warewulf in his day-to-day anymore and just doesn't have time for it on the side. He has agreed he intends to step back from this, and we don't have a procedure for that in our policies yet, but I imagine that acknowledgement of that and dismissal of that is a TSC vote that we'll need to do, and we'll probably do this just so we can make sure we get a vote from everyone, whether they're able to attend this meeting or not. We'll do that in a spreadsheet like we've done with similar votes in the past. But I recommend that, or I would like to nominate Tim here, who's been increasingly active in the Werewolf community, and then also has been something of a liaison with the Open HPC community as well. And I've really appreciated his participation there. So I intend to nominate and put him forward as filling um, filling John's seat on the TSC board, or I guess not board, whatever, the technical steering committee for Warewulf. He did bring up one potential, I don't think it's a conflict of interest, but one thing for us to be aware of is that I think Tim, you said that you intend to go in for the Open HPC board as well. And while that on its own, I think is no concern at all, Jeremy's already on the Open HPC board, I believe. At the very least, has been involved there. It does make it so that there are now two or would conceptually make it so that there are two Open HPC board members on the Warewulf Technical Steering Committee. I think that still isn't something I'm concerned with, but it's something for people voting to be concerned with, or not to be concerned with, be aware of. That's what I'm looking for. So I don't think there's an action for this. Maybe we can have a discussion if there are any concerns. But my next action will be to send a message about this in the TSC channel in the Werewolf Slack, and then put it for a vote in the voting spreadsheet. Chris, I saw you come, turn your video on. I'm curious if you have an opinion on this. So yeah, go for it.
I mean, I work with technical steering committees a lot. If you need help with policies and things like that about removing heading, folks, I can make something around that for y'all, no issue. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think the main thing is just we have a policy on ratifying and who the members of the committee are, but I forget if it has anything about removing people. So that's we'll need to review it. But I'll definitely point you to where that is. I'd love your insights on it. Tim, what's on your mind?
First off, thanks for the nomination. And technically, I'm not on the steering committee. I'm the Open HPC steering committee, or whatever they call it. I'm kind of like honorary. I'm actually throwing in my hat for the next cycle, which starts in a while. So if Open HPC finds that there's too many folks from Warewulf on there, then they'll also take care of it at that point in time. So Warewulf kind of gets me first in some sense in terms of choosing, and then Open HPC is the one I'm throwing my hat into next.
Okay. Yeah, and that was
I wouldn't worry about that with Open HPC. We had, I think, 3 people from Dell on it at one time.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that I'm not officially a TSC member for Open HPC, but will be self-nominating in this upcoming cycle, and the nominations run from June to the end of June. So.
Yeah, and that was my understanding. I may just not have reflected that accurately. And Jeremy, thank you for that reassurance that it shouldn't be an issue on the Open HPC side. Personally, I think there's a lot of value in sharing members between the Werewolf community and the Open HPC governance. But Jeremy, do you have anything else to add? Any thoughts on TSC membership, or do you want to throw in all of your complaints about Tim right now for us?
No, I think it's actually a good idea. I think Tim's actually been providing a lot, and he should be on the board. Actually, funny thing, I actually thought he was.
Yeah. Tim asked me just before this meeting what the level of commitment is for this, and I reassured him that he is already more committed to it than some committee members. So not naming anyone, but yeah, it'll be great to have all of the contributions you're already doing coupled with a little bit more availability to setting guidance and policy decisions for the project. So that's my perspective anyway. Yeah, if nothing else there, expect to see my call for a vote in the TSC channel, and we'll leave that decision to that and then hopefully announce something in our next meeting. So the next one and last thing on the agenda anyway is the status of Warewulf provisioning to disk. So for those who have not been following the history on this, it started as a pull request that Christian submitted a while ago now, which did a lot more than the current thing. It's now in its third generation. And Christian took his original PR and removed rsync from it, so you no longer needed rsync. And then I took that PR and I've refactored it a bit to be a bit more flexible. So one example is that Christian's original PR assumed that you would always be provisioning to a partition called rootfs, that was labeled rootfs. And so I modified that so now you can specify what block device you want to provision to by setting root, which is already an attribute, on like nodes.conf for a node or a profile. Now you can set it to dev disk by part label, whatever label you want, and it provisions to that. And it also, this was something Christian's PR already did. If you have an ignition configuration specified, it will notice that and provision your disk during Dracket so that if the partitions don't already exist that you want to provision to, it will create them before it does the provisioning. So all that's working, but there's a bit of concern. Greg has expressed concern about the current implementation. So on my side, there are some presentations. I sent him a video. If anyone individually is interested in seeing how it works, I've got a Zoom video, a Zoom recording that I took of it. I'd be happy to share that to individuals, but probably not publicly yet until there's agreement from the entire TSC that it's the way we want to go. So that's where that is. I'm excited to have the functionality in there, but I want it to be something that everyone is, has warm and fuzzies about, but also not take too long, hopefully, in doing that. So my hope is that we'll be able to have a decision on that in time to put out a 462 with it included by the end of the month. But it's ultimately I don't know the right word. We've got to get everyone on board for it. So I'm happy to answer questions about that or take suggestions or anything. But yeah, any discussion on this topic?
How does it integrate with the current Dracket? Is it replacing it or does it run alongside it?
It is just an additional if block inside of the current Dracket module. So I'll show you here real quick. If we go here and this pull request, so this pull request is broken right now because of some changes that I'm making to the ignition configuration, but it's unrelated to the Dracket part. And hopefully I'll have this fixed back up by the end of the day. But if we're in here and we go to load www.init. So this is the part of our Dracket plugin that actually does that work. It looks to see if we're provisioning to something other than a tempfs. So by default, this was like initramfs, or you could specify rootfs or whatever. But in Dracket, it was always a tempfs. And if you're provisioning to something other than that, then it unpacks your system overlay into a temporary location to see if there's an ignition configuration there and creates your disk. And then down here, if it's not a tempfs, so if it's a tempfs, it does what it's always been doing. It creates a tempfs at the new root location, but otherwise it just mounts the root device there that it expects either exists from out of band or that it created up here. So this is all the same module. It's just adding stuff to it. Any other questions or concerns or comments?
Jonathan, did you see the chat? I mean, it's not very detailed, but just I don't know if you have that
In
available.
here.
Yeah, inside the Zoom. Yeah.
Oh, you're interested in in the recording. Okay. Thank you for calling that out to me, Rose, because I would not have seen it. Um, yeah, I'll send that to you. I think there's plenty of time after this if we're going to end so soon. I'll get that video sent to you guys right after this meeting. All right. Well, if there isn't anything else, I say let's call it there, and we'll.
Yeah, I just like real quick, I just
Yeah.
wanted to keep you guys updated. At some point, we had talked about a common room instance being added to the Werewolf Slack. So we are still
Yes.
in conversation behind the scenes. At CIQ, Jonathan and I have a meeting with the team next week to kind of go over some stuff. So by the time we have our next committee meeting in a couple of weeks, we'll have some more details for you guys on that. Yeah, so I guess maybe that kind of should go to the, topic for next time.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Well, with that, our next meeting should be on the 4th, June 4th. So we'll look forward to seeing people then. And until then, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll put this video up, and hopefully that'll be useful. And hopefully we'll have a fancy new Werewolf release to show off by then, but we'll see how things go. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks.
See you.